Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J More Living. We welcome you to the show. If it's the first time, I am a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a very frustrated baker. I like to remind people that these shows are up for perpetuity on JMore's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. So dig in the archives. There's some great interviews. We just interviewed the great Sarah Moulton last week, and great interview to take that for your walks, your runs, rides to the food store, or wherever going to the shore. And so today's guest is Erin Joseph, an award-winning mixologist, brand ambassador, co-owner, co-founder of the Cane Collective, which makes handcrafted mixers. So let's welcome Erin. Hi, Erin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
What's in your shaker today?
We just have the mixers available, ready to go with anything I want to behind me. So.
Yeah, well, we're gonna dig into. I warned you that I'm going to dig into your background a little bit. You have an MBA in business administration. Yes. How did you transition from that to bartending? Was it something that put you through college?
Yeah, I discovered my love for hospitality at the great age of 19 to 20. It was the summer of my sophomore year. And my parents had just moved to the Eastern Shore of Maryland from Texas. And I came here for my very first summer. And I needed a summer job. And so I took the opportunity to explore it. And upon a recommendation from a family friend, I applied at the Inn at Perry Cabin located in St. Michael's, Maryland, for a server position. And that's when I was first introduced to the wonderful world of hospitality. And I haven't looked back since.
Well, at least you started off at the top. Right? The Inn at Perry Cabin is one of the most luxurious resorts. And didn't you go down to, you opened up another one of their resorts in one of the islands, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I was, after a couple of years of working at Perry Cabin, our general manager was the former general manager of La Samana, which is a property of the Orient Express Hotels down in St. Martin. And they needed some help reopening their property for season. And so naturally it was October and cold, and a trip to the Caribbean never sounded like a bad time. So I took that opportunity to go down and also, learn perspective of how they did things down there and, what the differences were. And that's kind of where I fell in love with craft bartending.
I'm curious, were you ever like Tom Cruise in Cocktail, where you were flipping the bottles and doing all the fancy stuff, or that was just for movies?
No, honestly, I saw the movie Cocktails. Everybody wants the rock star life. But after, learning the intricate details of just being a good bartender, I let go of the tricks and wanted to concentrate more on the craft. And so for myself, it was more important about learning every cocktail and every ingredient in the application and providing great service, as to opposed to flipping a bottle and taking 20 minutes to make a gin and tonic.
There's a quote. You did the foreword to a cocktail book on the history of cocktails in Maryland. And you quoted, I have to read it because we don't trust the memory anymore. As bartenders and cocktail ambassadors, we have committed to providing our guests with the best and most innovative creations, local produce, to highlight the best quality spirits. You, as I've met you out in the field, I think there was a bourbon tasting in Washington. We have met on and off. The most recent place, you were head of food and beverage at Wit and Wisdom. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, to Baltimore. Had the ability to transfer from Bourbon Steak in Washington, D.C., located in the Four Seasons Hotel right there in Georgetown. And it was a Michael Mina concept there called Bourbon Steak. And there I was under great tutelage, under two great individuals, Dwayne Sylvester and Jamie McBain, who were great bartenders. But that bar staff by far was probably the most talented group of individuals I ever had worked with. And it was qualitative from the GM all the way down to the bussers. Everybody just took pride in what they did. And so that exuded a lot of the same values I had. And so when the opportunity came to kind of step out on my own and take over a program, of course, trepidation and nervousness were apparent, but I wanted to kind of make my mark and share my passion with hospitality and kind of, create my own space. And so the opportunity came to be the lead bartender at Wit and Wisdom. And fortunately, I applied for the position and received it. And I've been in Baltimore ever since.
Well, I know that you've covered a lot of ground in the DMV, for those who don't understand, District of Columbia, Virginia, and Maryland, and Aaron has created quite a name for himself. There is the Baltimore Bartenders Guild,
yes,
that you're very much involved with. And with COVID, things had to change for you. What was life like for COVID? How did it affect your business?
COVID was I want to say was the wind that shook the tree. And what we were stuck with was looking at all the leaves fall and kind of adjust on how we wanted to hold on, or if we just wanted to still be attached to hospitality. And so after COVID hit, myself and my business partners kind of had a brief discussion about what we were going to do during this time. Were we just going to wait it out? Were we going to take some time off? Because, we hadn't had a significant time off since we started the company. And the conversation came up about, creating a product. And we had discussed this over a number of years about what kind of product, if we were to create a product, what would that be? And so taking just a poll amongst peers and friends, we understood that, one, people were still going to be drinking, and not only drinking, but drinking heavily, but they were going to do it in the comfort of their own home, right? And so we took that knowledge and that opportunity, and we looked at what people were drinking. And we understand everybody likes to drink an elevated cocktail, but we also understand that not too many people like to make elevated ingredients. And by that, I mean, nobody likes to squeeze the citrus. Nobody likes to boil the water for the syrup. Nobody likes to make their own tinctures. And there's few enthusiasts that do, and we applaud them for that. But in general, people just like going out, having an elevated cocktail and saying that they had a great experience. But when it comes to at home, everybody tends to like what's easy and can be easily accessible. And so yes.
So the Cane Collective started off really as being a resource for businesses to open up bars and being brand ambassadors to further brands. I know that you worked with Patron at some time, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, so we when we started the Cane Collective, our emphasis was we wanted to basically explore education, consulting, and just event execution. And that's kind of what we started off doing. We started doing catered events. We were specialty bars at large event scales. We partnered with brands to execute their local beverage strategies under our guidance and creativity. And we were kind of building a name for ourselves in that aspect. And then COVID hits, and everybody kind of plans go out the window. So
drop back and punt, as they say, isn't it?
Yeah. But the great thing was, I don't think we were ready to let the ball go, so to say. And so what we decided to do was continue to be passionate about the company, but also we wanted a product that we could be passionate and kind of represented our company through qualitative creativity and application. And we came up with these guys.
Okay, so let's talk about the partners. CJ, Ezra Allen.
Yes.
One's from the Caribbean, one's from Puerto Rico. You were originally from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And amongst the three of you, there was a huge passion about rum. Now, rum has an interesting history. I know that a lot of it was done in New England. Can you fill us in a little bit more about rum? I mean, rum is not Captain Morgan's, standing at the bar. That's sort of maybe stuff you mix with Coca-Cola, but there are zipping and delicious rums to be had out there.
Yeah, and especially during this time, rum is definitely seeing a true awakening. And we're very happy to be a part of it and kind of do our part to expose and spread the knowledge of what's going on in rum. Like you mentioned, New England was a very prominent area for rum manufacturing back in the start of the colonial days and beginning of statehoods of the United States. However, if you look at it, you got to look further back into like the sugar trail, what we call, and rum kind of became what it is in the Caribbean. But we also can trace cane spirits all the way back to the 1500s in the settlement and colonization of Brazil. And so when you start looking at that aspect, you got to realize that rum's got a rich, deep, dark, but very complex history that a lot of people kind of just dismiss because they're just used to sipping their rum with fruity beverages and sitting on the beach.
Sort of a dark and stormy past.
Yes, exactly. And what people don't realize, if you research the history of Captain Morgan was quite a fierce pirate himself. So he was more than just a leg stand in a spiced rum. But yeah, so that being said, we really appreciate rum as not only just a spirit, but the culture it exudes. And every rum is not created equal. And we know that just based on our heritage and our upbringing. And we wanted to share that passion with everybody else. And that's kind of how we came about and formed King Collective, because we wanted to tell the right history and the appreciation for the rum category.
We have a question.
Okay.
Are there any good quality rums you consider must-try brands or varieties?
It really depends on your personal palate. There are a number of rum brands and styles that I would say you should absolutely try. You have more of like a French or agricole style that comes from the French Caribbean with the Rum Clement JM. And then you also have some great rums coming out of Jamaica with Worthy Park, Appleton Estates. You also have some rums that are blended from multiple locations with Papa's Pilar. Foursquare rum out of Barbados is delicious. And I can go on and on and on. I think if somebody wants to delve into that, they should just reach out to me personally.
Okay. Well, Jeffrey's saying his preference is dark, sweeter, richer.
Dark, sweeter, richer. Yeah, the Papa's Pilar one is definitely something you can definitely get behind. It's a blend of rums sourced from different regions of the Caribbean, blended together, brought back, finished in 3 different casks. You also have Plantation with the XO OFTD, which is really good as well. It's just, I can keep going. I really can.
Well, I was looking into this because, I told you I just start digging into things that depended on the cask. It was in New England, there's in Massachusetts, that they're taking the cask where they're developing the rum, then they're giving it to the maple producers. They're putting the maple syrup in there, then they give the cask back to the rum maker. So that's not your cane sugar, but there's a whole lot to it for sure.
And you, right now, finishing is a huge aspect of production of most spirits, but especially in rum. And so anytime you can impart secondary or tertiary flavor by not just injecting it with direct ingredients. It's a way to kind of, build depth and diversity amongst the spirit. So like you said, there's a number of producers of the spirit of rum that use different casting finishes. So again, the same thing that happens kind of in beer, where they take bourbon casks, people store their bourbon or whiskey in there. After the whiskey is taken off, now they put the beer in there. And then after that, the beer is stored, then the producers of the spirits get the barrel back and refinish it in that. So they have a bunch of crossover in flavors.
Right. Before I forget, people, you can order these online, the mixers, canecollective.com. And all the social media, all the connections are going to float up in the notes. And you have so many interesting flavors or mixers. And the one that's seasonal, this grilled peach, I could just drink that. And of course, people can mix this with club soda, or they can make a spritzer with it, with wine. How do you come up with the flavors? I mean, tell me a bit more about the development of the flavors.
Well, Dara, as somebody that ultimately appreciates great cuisine, you know that flavors are important to any aspect of culinary or just diversity as far as things to consume. And I'm a fat kid, really, and I love flavors and I love food. So when it came down to it, we wanted to create something that not only was diversified and had multiple application and multiple ways of mixing it, but also had layers of flavor and depth. And so for us, the whole concept of just maintaining either a primary or binary flavor profile just really isn't an option. So we like to layer things that kind of go together, but also that indicate a quality craft mixer. And so when you start talking about like how we conceptualize our flavors, one, we take what's seasonal or what's available. A big part of Cane right now, as far as our seasonal aspect, we're working with local farmers and local produce makers to source these ingredients locally. And we want to support as many local people as possible. So if we have access to these produce, then we kind of put our thinking caps on and say, what goes with what? How do we get this? And what can we offer that can be diversified amongst everybody in general population or just general application? And so when we came up with the grilled peach Southside, it was a salad I used to have on the Eastern Shore. Mark Salter, wonderful chef out there at Perry Cabot, used to make a grilled peach salad with grilled peaches, arugula, a little bit of house-made mozzarella, and a little feta, and then drizzled it with like a white wine vinaigrette, and it was absolutely delicious. And that's when I first discovered grilled peaches, and grilled peaches were the best thing ever. And so I wanted to do something that not only reminded me of that aspect and also incorporate the seasonality of the peaches, but also had diversity and depth and flavor. And when we looked at it, grilled peaches are great, but throwing a little bit of citrus, some ginger, and some mint behind it, it kind of puts late summer in a bottle and allows you to enjoy it in a whole lot of ways. And we worked on it for a while. Literally, it took us about 5 weeks to get the whole recipe down. And then after we got it, we were very happy with it. And so we're happy to re-release it starting today.
Oh, okay, great, terrific. And I want to tell people in the local DMV area, you're at the farmers market, so they can come out and sample and taste the mixers. But understand, folks, it's not just a simple syrup. It is a complete mixer.
Yes.
So somebody has asked, do you have a sugar-free version? There really isn't, but we were talking people can dilute it as much as they want, or bring it up, depending how they're mixing it. Am I correct?
You are absolutely correct, and thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, so again, like we spoke about it, we kind of take this saying that we provide the platform, you provide the adventure. And so these mixers can be drank by themselves or used in non-alcoholic applications, diluted with variety of things. But you can also add your spirits or alcohol with them and come up with your fun concoctions in that. Another application we tell people to use, and we actually didn't realize it until a customer mentioned it to us. They like to take these and freeze them in the 2x2 ice cube trays. And then now you have a flavored ice cube that you can do anything with. You can pour your spirits over top of it. You can throw your club soda over top of it. You can put it in the blender with your alcohol, and now you have your smoothie ready to go. It's just a ton of diverse application, and that was kind of the main reason we wanted to stay as non-alcoholic, amongst other things.
Terrific. Best piece or worst piece of advice you've received? Either or both.
Best piece of advice is, I gotta say, the best piece of advice was just go for it. If you don't make it, at least you can live with the fact that you tried it. It's the what ifs and the how, what ifs not, and all the things that if you don't take a chance, that will haunt you. And I've been a part of both sides of the spectrum, and I definitely say that was probably the best piece of advice I've had.
Go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. Just go for it. You really have nothing to lose.
Right.
The worst piece of advice was do everything.
Everything?
Do everything. An old manager of mine said you should do everything. And I said, okay, great. So I took on 4 jobs. And let's just say that I worked consistently for 8 months straight without a day off. And by the 8 months, I probably had aged 5 years, gained 30 pounds, and didn't have clarity at all in what I thought I wanted to get out of the whole situation. So that was the worst piece of advice, was do everything. So.
Okay, just reading my notes here. Being a bartender, though you're not really bartending anymore, you're a consultancy and you're doing the King Collective mixers and you're doing online courses. You're tying in with Laurie Forster, who's a wine expert, and doing cocktail classes online through Zoom. Being a bartender, we see in movies, everybody tells their woes to the bartender. Number 1, is that true? Number 2, weirdest or unusual thing that's happened to you as a bartender?
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure I can actually repeat this due to.
I'm sure you can.
It is true. People find your bartenders, especially people that are your regulars. You find some kind of, I want to say, some comfort, and your local bartender or your favorite bartender, and you share a lot of personal time with each other. And for that aspect, I want to say that, we hear a lot, and we're used to hearing a lot. Unfortunately, sometimes when we're busy, we don't get to hear as much as we would like to, but we still hear you. And we really appreciate that vote of confidence, because I know personally that can definitely, talk to other people or go down other roads. And it's been many occasions where we just talk some situations out with guests, and decisions have been made to not go in a detrimental way. I think that, having a good bartender is cheap therapy,
It's cheap therapy, right?
It is. It really is. And we actually get more out of it than you think we would just by listening. So we actually I figured a lot out in my life by just listening to people and their problems. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any weird, funny stories that you can tell, because people like these kind of things. And so come on, share one.
Oh, there's always, the typical occasions of somebody being overserved, or there's drama at the bar. Wit and Wisdom, it was funny because it would be a wonderful high class restaurant until 10 p.m. And then after 10 p.m. it became Club Wit, and you definitely saw your sights. But one particular occasion kind of stands out to me, and it's not weird, but it's just interesting. And I want to say that the people involved were definitely inebriated a little bit. Not to mind, they came in a little tuned up, but they proceeded to order cocktails not only for themselves but for people around them. And it was a party, and they wanted a party to keep going. And so at the time, the bar was moderately packed, and they just kept ordering drinks and rounds. And at one point, we looked around and we had ran out of glasses, and we were like, "Where are all the glasses?" And we looked around. People had glasses, but there weren't glasses coming back. So lo and behold, did some due diligence and research. People were drinking the drinks and then pocketing the glasses. And to the point where there was probably 20, 25 glasses in 3 backpacks that we had discovered. And I was blown away, first of all. But second, we didn't understand why they needed so many glasses. Apparently, they were throwing a 40-person party upstairs in a room and needed glassware to serve beverages. And simply, you could have just asked room service for, but the fact that they decided that they needed to take our glasses and we couldn't serve drinks, it was probably more frustrating than anything. But you live and you learn. So.
Well, yeah, that reminds me of a story I wrote. I put out feelers a number of years ago that people are famous for stealing from restaurants, from what I call what is visible front of house, what is happening in the restrooms. And I might have told this story before, God knows. But it was in Connecticut, and one of the chefs, it wasn't his restaurant, but some fellow walked back to the bathroom, and totally took out the bathroom fixture, which was a high-end fixture, put in a cheap one, and left. So, you just don't know. And then David Derkowitz, when he was the manager at the Prime Rib,
right,
the waiter came up to him. David was the manager, and he says, "Look, I just saw this woman take the lamp and put it in her purse." So David presented a bill, and on the bill was $300 for the lamp. And the manager came over. I'm trying to remember the number, what it was, but let's say it was a large number. And he called David over, and he says, "There's something wrong with the check." And David leans in and whispers in his ear. He says, "If your wife will put back the lamp, I'll gladly take that off the check." And the lamp was put back on. But people just think anything's up for grabs.
I mean, yes, we've had stories of people stealing bar spoons, shaker tins directly off the bitters bottles. The lovely Moscow mules, you just already assumed that those were going to disappear. But yeah, I mean, somebody took a rock out of one of the center settings one time, and I was just like, wow, and it wasn't a small rock. It was a rock like this big, and they just felt like they needed to take it. And, it's just interesting what people feel. We call it entitled souvenirs. And it's interesting, but it's all good and fun. You laugh about it now.
Right. I usually wrap up with a couple questions.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Do you cook food?
I love to cook.
Okay. All right. Then you're going to answer the question, what was your most epic culinary fail?
Yes, trying to cook veal, first of all, without knowing what veal was. And for some reason, I thought I could season the gaminess out of it. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So we were making veal chops, and I cooked them, and made the sides. Had a salad, had sautéed spinach, had garlic. We had some garlic with potatoes to go with it. Everything else, and I seasoned it, and I was like, well, there's something wrong with this. It doesn't taste right. And so it was gamey, so I put more seasoning salt, more salt and pepper, more paprika. At this point, I was looking in my cabinet and kind of wondering what I could use to just kind of like season this gamey out of it. Lo and behold, you just can't do it. So everything else was good. It became a vegetarian meal real quick.
I'm admiring you have quite I'm looking at the big screen because it's hard to see here. All the different bottles you have behind you, and just to let people know that you're sort of like me. You don't really, you're around it so much. It's like chefs don't eat as much because they're around it all the time, that you don't really drink, that your development and things of that nature. And I think I told you I only drink white stuff. I drink vodka and I drink tequila, and otherwise, it's bottled water. But enough about me. This show's about you. So, what question didn't I ask you that I should have?
The question you did not ask me that you should have is, why do I have so much alcohol behind me?
Why do you have so much alcohol behind you?
Let's just say I like to take my work home. I am sober for 10 years. And so all of this stays at its level because I don't drink. And literally, a lot of these bottles are souvenirs or trophies from past competitions. But also, as we do research and development, it's nice to have a working study behind you. So you just have samples of everything behind you. But let's just say there's bottles here that are older than me that levels have not changed. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations on the 10 years. Continued.
Thank you.
Success on that.
Thank you.
And continued success. Remind everybody, Cane Collective, if you're in the Baltimore area, before we go off, you're at which farmers markets are you?
So we're at Waverly Farmers Market every other Saturday. We're at Fells Point Market every Saturday. On Sundays, we are at the Jones Fall Farmers Market underneath the bridge on Sunday, and Catonsville Farmers Market Sunday mornings as well. And we have started doing some pop-ups and spear markets. So recently we went all the way out to Wildberry out in Crownsville to their market, and we'll be there every other Saturday through October. So you can always just follow us on social media or chime in, and we'll always keep you updated on our whereabouts.
And everyone, get a bottle.
Get a couple, but mainly,
get them online, and they'll be delivered to you, or you can find them at the farmers market. And I know Liberty Delight Farms has a store out in Reisterstown, and they carry your mixers.
Yes, they do.
And there are seasonal ones, and I heard about, I think in the holidays, you put edible glitter in there. Somebody asked me, where do you get edible glitter?
It's the same thing that pastry chefs use to decorate cakes. So they are completely digestible, not harmful, and non-corrosive. So please don't be scared of the glitter in the bottle.
Okay. Aaron, I thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing time with us, and hope to see you soon in person, up close and personal, sometime soon, as we're all out and about now. Thank you so much.
No, Dara, thank you so much. It's good to see your face and just catch up a little bit. And as always, thank you for being a huge supporter of everything that I've done in the past and continue to do. And if it wasn't for enthusiasts like yourself, a lot of us in the hospitality industry would not have a platform to kind of have a place to be individuals. So thank you again.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Wow. Okay, I want to tell everybody about next week's guest, and Erin might even know her, Candy Shibley. I'm not Shibley. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She is the owner and founder of Southeastern Roastery, and we're going to talk coffee, coffee beans, and even more what she's doing and how she evolved a woman of color to create her own business. And to remind people, Baltimore Restaurant Week is continuing on through August 1st. Check out their website. And as always, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving.com. My social is @DaraCooks. This will be up on jmoreliving.com within the next hour or so, and up on the Facebook page, J More Living, here on Facebook. So let me say, may your plates always remain full, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.